Good boy, Riley. Alright, so today is Monday, August 19th, day number 109. We're getting back on trail. We spent the night in Great Barrington last night. We just got dropped off from a shuttle driver and just finishing the last of my continental breakfast. I got up later than I wanted to this morning. The breakfast started at 7 a.m., but I only woke up at 7:45. So I quickly got my things ready. And got down to the breakfast around 8:15. So I didn't have as much time as I wanted to eat breakfast. I'm giving Riley some sausage that they had at breakfast. They basically had these eggs, sausages, and waffles. Make your own waffles. And then they had some packaged muffins and fruit cup and yogurt and hard-boiled eggs and juices. Okay, Riley. I'll give you the rest of the sausage, Riley. So, it's good that we're getting back on trail. Felt very good to sleep in a bed last night. Riley took full advantage of the comforts of the room. He stayed in the room while Big Blue and I went to dinner. So he got to sleep on the bed, and then when we got back, he just went right to sleep with me on the bed. And he was as cozy as can be. So I think you got excellent rest last night, Riley. So hopefully you're eager to go here. Do you like egg, Riley? Of course you like egg. We went to a Japanese restaurant last night, and I also took a shower beforehand, so the shower was excellent. At the Japanese restaurant, I had something called vegetable nabe with soba noodles. So it was like a big bowl with vegetable broth and noodles, which were soba noodles, and then a whole bunch of vegetables, and it was very good. It was expensive, more expensive than I'm accustomed to, but there weren't many places open. We were looking for places. It was after 8 o'clock, and most places closed at 9. Several places closed at 8. So we were in kind of a trendy part of town. There weren't many any fast food places that we could go to, or pizza shops. So we just didn't have many options. But it was a great restaurant. It was just expensive. But yeah, it was expensive, Riley. Lots of money. But we're getting back on trail, and we'll be able to return to our inexpensive life on trail. All right, hello. Mr. Riley is walking behind me. He's walking very well. We're settling into the day here. So today is the day after a night spent in Great Barrington. and we haven't had to deal with any rain today. It's actually been a little bit on the warm side. Good jump, Riley. He did that like he usually does. He just jumped right over. Yes, I'm definitely feeling more encouraged overall compared to just yesterday morning, as along with, you know, the past several days before that. And I realized before that there were probably some times where I was getting noticeably annoyed with Riley, and that is because I was getting annoyed with Riley. Hold up, buddy. And that is because I'm feeling the pressure of the hike and feeling the pressure to make progress. And I totally understand that what's of paramount importance is just the health of both Riley and myself. And whether we complete the hike or not is of secondary importance. I totally recognize that. Yet, I'm still putting a lot of importance on completing the hike. And it's been frustrating when Riley is not motivated to hike with me. And so that causes me to get annoyed and show frustration while we're hiking and while I'm taking video. But yesterday, everything took a turn for the better. Whoops. Once we got to that Gilder's Pond picnic area, there was that girl, I figured out her name. Her name is Firemaster. She was with her mom. She was waiting on her trail family. 3 other hikers named Xena, a girl, guy named Foghorn, and another guy named Roam, as in roam around, like R-O-A-M. So she was waiting on her trail family. And then another, I guess the guy had already been there, but I didn't notice him. I thought I saw him drive up with his SUV. He was an older gentleman, and he has a trail name of Iceman. And I asked him, he was kind of just standing there. I wasn't sure what his business was, and I asked him like if he was planning to go for a hike, and he said he was waiting to see somebody. And so he was the guy who was waiting to see Big Blue. And I'm pretty sure I explained it yesterday, but Big Blue and I met back just before we crossed the James River footbridge, 5 miles from the town of Glasgow. Also just before I saw that Quadzilla guy that I made a big deal about. Yeah, so we saw each other back there. We first introduced ourselves and got along pretty well with him instantly, because I asked him what his trail name was, Big Blue, and he got Big Blue because he's born and raised in Kentucky, and he's a Kentucky Wildcats basketball fan, and the colors of the University of Kentucky are, I believe, blue and white. And yeah, Big Blue is just kind of synonymous with his Kentucky fanship. And I'm a huge basketball fan, so I enjoyed talking with him about his love for Kentucky basketball. And he also just seems like a really nice, cool, down-to-earth guy. So yeah, we had good conversation, and then we saw each other for a bit prior to getting into Shenandoah, but as we were approaching it, and we hiked for a bit, and then we camped together one night, and yeah, so we've had a couple prior encounters, but then that was the last time we saw each other. And so when Iceman said he was waiting for Big Blue, I was like, oh, I know that guy. And Riley and I were just about ready to get to stepping and get moving, and then Big Blue walked down the trail, and so we saw each other again there. And so I delayed my start until Big Blue was ready to get started, and then we hiked the rest of the way together. Hold up, buddy, hold up. I mean, immediately he mentioned that he was planning to stop for the day in Great Barrington. So apparently Iceman was waiting on him because he had met Big Blue somewhere else earlier on the trail, and he had just I guess he was driving back from a trip up north, and he texted with Big Blue, and he was just wondering if he could help him. He offered to slack pack for him, and he was like, I think he just wanted to know like where he was so that he could meet up with him and help him in some way. And so Big Blue just happened to be in this area, and so Iceman showed up with his truck, and he had a cooler of sodas, and pretty much every hiker he saw, he was like, do you want a soda? So he gave me he gave me two sodas yesterday, an Orange Crush and a root beer. And when he saw Iceman, he had a meatball sub for him, meatball and cheese sub, and Iceman was nice enough to give me half of it. And so this was at the Gilders Pond picnic area, and I'm not one to turn down free food, so I thankfully accepted, and I enjoyed the sub very much before we started hiking again. And yeah, so once we started hiking again, Riley was it was night and day. Riley was just so energized, and I was just so happy that I didn't have to, like, you know, kind of fight with Riley. You know, not fight in a violent way, but just, I feel like I'm fighting with him sometimes to try to go forward. And he doesn't always want to go forward. And so I don't want to force him to do something he doesn't want to do, but I do want to try to encourage him to go forward in the nicest way possible. And sometimes I'm not so nice about it, like when I get frustrated, but I try to be nice, and I try to manage my frustrations and recognize when I'm getting overly frustrated and correct myself if I need to, and try to improve if I need to improve. But anyway, it was just wonderful to see Riley just so excited to go again because he had somebody else to hike with. And so that made me really happy. And I haven't spent a night in a hotel yet on trail. It's not really my style to spend nights in hotels. I try to spend my money wisely and not spend it on things that I don't need. But I thought it'd be a lot of fun yesterday since I hadn't seen Big Blue in a while, and it was just a surprise to see him again. I thought it'd be fun to spend a night with him, get a good meal, get a good night's sleep in a very comfortable bed, get a shower, and also I thought it would be great for Riley for him to be able to sleep in a comfortable bed and get a really, really comfortable night's sleep. So that's the reason I decided to go into town. And like, ignoring the cost, it was a great time. It's just that it was a lot more money than I'm used to spending. So it's something that I don't do frequently, so I think it's okay to do it every once in a while. But yesterday was that once in a while, so I don't plan to do it anytime soon again.
if at all, for the rest of the trail. I mean, I'm sure I'll stay in some hostels in Maine, because I'll definitely need to resupply throughout that state, and there's not really any towns that the trail directly goes through. So in order to properly resupply, we'll probably need to arrange for some stays at some hostels, and then use the support of the hostels to help with resupplying for Riley and myself. But even when we stay at those hostels, I should be able to hopefully do it for, you know, less than what a standard hotel would cost, even when we're splitting a room between two people. Anyway, so yeah, so we spent the night in Great Barrington last night, and the other guys, we also saw this other guy, Wiki, who I've talked about on the channel before. He was planning to go into Great Barrington as well and spend the night with Gravy. And they were at a different hotel. They were at the Travel Lodge, which was on the north side of town. We were at the Quality Inn, which was on the south side of town. It's a pretty big town, so I mean, big in terms of like walking distance. If you don't have a car, it can take a while to get from place to place. So we were on opposite ends of the town. I think it actually would have been cheaper to stay at the Travel Lodge. And there also was a cool brew pub. So my driver, Iceman gave Wiki and Big Blue a ride to their respective hotels, and he would have given me a ride, but he didn't really have enough room in his SUV for both Riley and myself. But we happened to meet this other Trail Angel guy. His name was Jim Kelly, he told us, and we met him as we were hiking on the trail, and he just offered to give us a ride if we needed a ride. And so he met us at the trailhead as well, and he gave Riley and myself a ride to the Quality Inn. And I learned from him that he was going to be having dinner with his wife at this brew pub in town, which he thought was close to the Quality Inn, but it turned out the brew pub was on the north side of town, which was kind of far in terms of walking distance from the Quality Inn. But he described the brew pub as being a great place to have dinner. I think we would have. I mean, the Japanese place was really nice. It was expensive, but it was a nice experience. But he described the brew pub as being a really cool place. I think we would have enjoyed going there. He said they had really big portions, you know, standard American food, excellent sandwiches. I'm sure they have excellent fries. And he also said they have a really nice, I mean, I'm not a beer drinker. Of course they have good beers. I think Big Blue would have enjoyed the beers. But he also said they have a really awesome chocolate stout cake. I don't know what stout cake is. I think it has something to do with beer, which is why they serve it at a brewery. That's a tough word to say. Brewery. It's tough for me to say. But you guys, hopefully it comes across clear enough. Yeah, so he said the stout cake is like, they serve it as a single slice, but it's a really big slice. And he was like, it's too big for me to eat by myself, but I'm sure one of you thru hikers could finish it. So if we had gone there, I definitely would have gotten the chocolate stout cake for dessert. Perhaps that's something to do in the future, but at least I enjoyed thinking about it. And yeah, it's fun to think about those things. By the way, last night when we got settled into our hotel room, I was able to check far out and look for shuttle drivers that were servicing hikers in the area, and I was able to call somebody, and they were able to give me the number of another person that they're familiar with who was able to give Riley and I a ride back to trail. He only charged us $10, which I think is very reasonable for the ride back. So Riley and I were able to get a ride back very, very easily this morning, which was awesome. And the other hikers, Gravy and Wiki, they're both taking zeros today in Great Barrington. And my buddy Big Blue is also taking a zero today. So it's good to know that they will both, all three of them will likely catch up to us at some point. And so those are, you know, in addition to just being, you know, seeing them again and getting to hike with them, it's good to know that they will be future sources of motivation for Riley whenever we see him in the future. And also, so this girl, Firemaster, who was meeting her trail family again, she had 3 other hikers in her trail family. I mentioned Xena, Foghorn, and Rome. And Xena and Foghorn, they both actually got a room last night at the Quality Inn as well, and we saw them in town yesterday. And I think they're getting back on trail today. I think so, but I think they had some errands to do this morning, so I think, pretty sure they're getting back on trail after, I'm pretty sure they're behind us, but they'll, I just don't know how far behind they are, but somewhere behind us. So those are 2 more hikers that are, will likely catch up to us at some point. And then Firemaster and Rome, they decided not to go into town. For one thing, Firemaster didn't go into town because she had already been off trail for a week. So it made sense that she just wanted to stay on trail. And but apparently they camped a few miles before the road, Route 7, that goes into Great Barrington. And so Riley and I did the first kind of big climb today, and then I saw a little campsite and I was like, I'm ready to take a break. I'm feeling a little tired. So I took a break, and Rome passed us, and we started hiking again. Then we got to the next road crossing, and Rome was sitting there taking a break. And of course Riley was hiking energetically once he saw Rome the first time. And so when we saw him taking a break, I was like, all right, we'll just take another break. It's going to be too hard to get Riley to go if Rome's just sitting there taking a break. So we joined Rome, and then shortly thereafter, Firemaster showed up. And then they took their own break. So Riley and I, we didn't really need another break, but Riley is like, I mean, he's just who he is. He's a dog that likes to stay close to people. So with the other 2 hikers taking a break, it would be too much effort to try to get Riley to hike on. So I just let Riley kind of hang out with them while they were taking a break. And then we all hiked on. Once they were ready to hike on, Riley and I hiked on with them. But we stayed behind. And hold up, buddy. Almost. Oh, I know, Riley. Anyway, so currently Rome is in front of us, and I think Firemaster is, well, she's definitely behind us, because she stopped to take a break a short while back, and we passed her and haven't seen her since. So she's somewhere behind us, but not too far behind us. So all this information is, all it boils down to is that we have, just a few days ago, I was complaining about how we're not seeing any northbound hikers, and there's nobody to help motivate Riley, and it's just becoming so hard to hike now, and that was contributing to my frustration. But yesterday we saw Big Blue, and in addition to motivating Riley to go, I had a lot of fun talking to him as we were hiking into Great Barrington, combined with the fact that the trail got easier. And the trail we've had a couple steep climbs today, but other than that, the trail has been very very pleasant for the most part. So that's helped me to stay in a good mood. And yeah, coming back to the main point is that now there's a lot of hikers that are close by to us that are all going northbound. So there's definitely 3 hikers, Wiki, Gravy, and Big Blue, who are going to be resuming their northbound hikes tomorrow. And they would likely all catch up to us, you know, probably within the next week, if not the next few days. But in addition to that, there's also 3 other hikers, Firemaster, Xena, and Foghorn, who are also behind us, but I believe they're continuing on trail. I believe currently they're not waiting until tomorrow, so they will also likely catch up to us. So that's a total of 6 northbound hikers all behind us and relatively close to each other. I mean, relatively close to us. So that gives me so much more hopefulness or hope. You know, that if Riley does encounter some trouble hiking in terms of motivation, there is help nearby in terms of other hikers. And I know from yesterday that Riley is fine. Riley is not hurt. Riley is not dead tired. When he has the proper motivation to hike in terms of other people, he can go. He can go. He is happy to move. And so there's plenty of motivation back there to help him if and when we need help, if and when we're struggling to move. And there's another hiker in front of us named Rome. So there's 7 hikers that are very close to us. 1 of them is in front of us. 6 of them are behind us. So that's my main point, just that I'm feeling very encouraged by all that. On a separate note, all those beans that I packed out from Salisbury, I got 3 cans of beans: chickpeas, black beans, and red kidney beans, dark red kidney beans, I think. And I packed them all out in my large peanut butter jar. Well, I'd eaten about a third of the peanut butter jar of beans. And had we not stayed in Great Barrington last night, I'm sure I would have eaten a lot more of them last night for dinner. But since we stayed in the hotel room last night, I put the beans in our refrigerator to try to keep them fresh and cool. And then I forgot to take them with me today when I left. I remembered everything else, but I forgot the beans. So on the positive side, at least the only thing that I forgot was the beans. At least I didn't forget, you know, some important piece of gear, like my sleeping bag or something, or my GoPro or something like that. But nevertheless, I forgot the beans. The reason I forgot them is they weren't like immediately visible to me. They were hiding inside the refrigerator, and it just slipped my mind. Like it was on my mind while I was packing up that I needed to get them, but then just before heading out the door, it slipped my mind because I was so focused on getting to the breakfast. So that's that. I still have plenty of food on me to get us, you know, plenty of dog food and plenty of Van Gogh food as well. So it's not a big deal, but something that I realized after we got back on trail. All right, so that's a long update for today. Riley's doing fine so far. It is a hotter day, but that goes along with it not raining. So at least it's not raining. The rocks are dried again, so much less chance of slipping. And also the trail in general is just a lot friendlier. We don't have a bunch of steep rock slabs that we're climbing over. Also last night, another fun thing that I did was since we had, Riley, you were just go. Hold up, buddy. Since we had Wi-Fi access, I was able to play some of my favorite game last night in my bed on my phone. I love playing this game called Horde, which is a variant of chess where white has 36 pawns and black has its standard army. And I just really enjoy playing the game. It's just one of the, everybody has little hobbies, things that they like to do, and this is, hiking is one of my hobbies, but playing this game is another one of my, I guess it's more than a hobby, it's just a strong interest, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it, and really working hard to improve my skills when I eventually get finished with the trail, at least for our current hike. So I was able to play some games, and that was a lot of fun. Played against this really strong computer and lost all the games, but it was still a lot of fun to play. Mr. Riley, all right, so we passed Tom Leonard Shelter just a short while back, and in my guidebook it says Ice Gulch, Tom Leonard Shelter, and I think this place is what is referred to as the Ice Gulch. It looks pretty cool. It's just a nice open area surrounded by two enormous walls of rock. It's a big drop down there. And I'm guessing there was something to do with, like, during the winter time, ice would probably reside in here, and it would just it was just a nice spot where it was cool and kind of stayed as ice maybe for a long time. I'm sure there's something to the name Ice Gulch, but I haven't studied it at all, so I'm just guessing here. But very beautiful here. All right, Riley and Van Gogh back here checking in. It's getting more serious here. Clouds have moved in. Seems like it is going to rain very soon in a strong way. I'm hearing thunder. So, not pleased about that. I think we're gonna have to put our rain gear on very soon. We are close to a shelter if we want to bail out or take a break there. We're probably a little over a mile, definitely less than 2 miles away from, I think, Mount Wilcox shelter. I'm hearing raindrops on the leaves, but I'm not really feeling much on my body yet. So I'm gonna keep walking. I'm trying to pick up our pace and not dilly-dally here. It's been a hot day all day, and just recently the clouds have moved in and it's cooled down significantly. We took a long break back at that Ice Gulch area. The only reason I took a break there is because Rome was decided to plop down and take a break there, and he was there when Riley and I got there, so Riley insisted on taking a break, and Rome was waiting on his friend Firemaster, and then eventually Firemaster showed up, and they took a long friggin' break there. Long friggin' break. I mean, they can do what they want. They can take whatever breaks they want. Come on, Riley, we gotta move. Come on, buddy. But I was just kind of taking a break because I figured it was going to be hard to get Riley moving. Oh my goodness, Riley, come on, dude. What are you doing? Riley, come on. Yeah, so I was there kind of just waiting for them to get going so that Riley and I could get going as well. Riley, we gotta go, dude. Come on. But they just like got their food bags out and just started eating, and they had just taken a long break like a few miles before that Tom Leonard shelter. And so I was like, all right, fine, I'm gonna put my head down and take a nap. And I took a nap, and Riley, what are you like? Oh my God, you are being ridiculous, Riley. No, you're being like, it's all right. Riley, it's about to start pouring cats and dogs. Come on. So, yeah, they took a long friggin' break there, and eventually I woke up from my nap. I mean, I wasn't totally asleep, but I was comfortably closing my eyes, and eventually I was like, all right, this is going on long enough. We gotta get moving. I didn't say all that. I was just talking to myself in my head. And so I got Riley ready to go, and I was like, I don't care if Riley protests and wants to stay with them. I'm going to get moving. And so that's what we did. And they continued their break, and they're planning to do a big day today. They were planning to go beyond the second shelter up here another like 4 miles to get to a campsite. And I figured, well, we might as well just get ahead of them, and they'll eventually catch up to us, and at least when they catch up to us, we'll be that much farther ahead on the trail. Well, they haven't caught up to us yet. And depending on what the rain does, I don't know if they'll alter their plans. But I feel like they just take too long. I feel like they take breaks that are too long. Riley, no, we gotta go. We gotta go, Riley. Come on, we gotta go. It's not even hot out, Riley. You don't need a break. Now he's gonna dart in front of me. Dart in front of me. You wanna take a break, and then you wanna dart in front of me. You hear that thunder, Riley? It's not good. Anyway, so I'm fine. I mean, we have our rain jackets, we have our rain gear. We'll survive. Riley, you are just dilly-dallying. Come on, dude. Come on, man. You're going too slow. Yeah, so I am slightly frustrated that we took such a long break back there. And just wasting time. I mean, it's nice to take breaks. But like now we have to deal with this rain. And we could have been further along on the trail, you know, closer to getting a full day in. Riley's gonna plop down again. Oh my goodness, what are you doing, Riley? Boom. All right, so that's an update. That's an update. Riley wants to take a break and just get soaked. All right, so it's been raining for a while. It died down a little bit, and then now it's picked up a little bit. But we got a rain gear on. We've had a rain gear on for a while, so it's not that bad. I always get more worried about the rain before it's about to start. And it's usually not as bad as I worry it to be, that it's going to be. And we're also fortunate that the trail that we've been hiking, it's been mostly like this. We haven't had to deal with any big rock slabs that are angled that cause us to lose our balance. It's been pretty standard hiking, I guess. so nothing that is particularly difficult to do in the rain. Nothing where I'm really concerned about slipping and falling. I changed Riley's leash connection to the front of his harness instead of the back. I usually have it at the back. Are you really gonna pop down, Riley? Come on, dude. Oh my goodness. I don't usually do this. I don't usually I don't usually like, we've been hiking pretty well since it's been raining. He hasn't been causing any problems or protesting. But now he's stopping now that I just turned the camera on. All right, hello, good evening. It is 8:54 right now on Monday, August 19th. And Riley and I are in our tent now. So that's good. We are able to relax now and rest and get some sleep. Mr. Riley's getting up here and trying to get comfortable. I think he wants to get close to me. You want to get close to me, right? Oh, Riley. Oh, wow, it's so dark in here that nothing can be seen here, but he's just crawling in between my legs and curling up. So I'm chilly. I was real hot at the start of the day. And, the first half of the day. It wasn't super hot temperature-wise. It was like a normal day. But just combined with the hiking, I was sweating a lot. And my body temperature was pretty high. But then I took like 3 breaks. Like, Riley and I took a break shortly into the day for a decent while, and then after that, as we were getting ready to go, that's when we saw this guy roam, and he ended up taking a break just a short while after he passed us. And so Riley and I took another break there, and that's when Firemaster caught up to us, and so both Firemaster and Rome took a food break, good long food break. So Riley and I took another long break there, and then we got some good hiking in. And the breaks are definitely balanced out, because even though we're spending a lot of time taking breaks, when Rome and Firemaster decided to hike on, Riley was very, very motivated to hike. So we got good hiking in after that second break, and we made it a little bit past the first shelter that we saw, which was Tom Leonard Shelter, and then shortly after that we saw that ice gulch area, and that's where Rome decided he should take his next break to wait up for Firemaster. And so, of course, Riley and I took another break there. And all throughout this time, I was hot. Riley was warm. But then, like, since we were taking such long breaks, I actually started to get chilly because I was sweating so much, and my shirt was basically soaked with sweat, and then I wasn't moving for a long time, and I was getting a little bit chilly. And then Firemaster caught up again, and they took another long break. And there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. They're doing what they're doing. They should do what they want to do. But I eventually was like, this just seems like too long of a break. So I'm like, I decided to hike on with Riley. I was reluctant to do so initially because I wasn't sure how long of a break they were going to take, and I didn't want to force Riley to go if he didn't want to, and I knew he wouldn't want to because the other people were there. But at some point, I just don't want to stay. We got to get moving. So we got moving, and we had about another 5 or so miles to get to the next shelter, which was South Mount Wilcox Shelter. And we got there, and so by that point it had started raining. And so between leaving the second or the last break, which was the third break, which we took at Ice Gulch, between that point and getting to the next shelter, the clouds moved in, and I heard thunder, and I was like, yeah, it's gonna start raining a lot. And so it started raining heavily, and then it basically just kind of persisted to be wet the rest of the day, and the clouds are still overhead. It's not raining actively right now, but it's still dripping from the trees, and my clothes are wet. So, it's still summer, so I'm chilled right now. I'm not freezing. I'm just chilled, and I gotta get my clothes off and get dry, and then try to get warm for the night. Anyway, so we made it past South Mount Wilcox Shelter. Then next shelter was North Mount Wilcox Shelter, which was only 1.8 miles after that. We got there. Shortly before, and between those two shelters, Rome actually caught up to us and passed us. And he indicated that he was probably going to stay at that next shelter, North Mount Wilcox Shelter. Originally, he was planning to go to a campsite called Shaker Mountain, or Shaker Campsite, which is 4 miles after North Mount Wilcox Shelter. And I was actually hoping to get to that campsite as well. So when we got to the shelter, I just continued to hike on, and but I wasn't really sure what time it was and how much daylight we had left, and it turns out that we didn't have much daylight left, so we ended up hiking another 1.6 miles, and it gets dark about before 8:30 these days, this time of year. Sunsets before 8 o'clock, and then it starts to get fully dark before 8:30. So I was hoping to get to this campsite called Shaker Campsite, but it's still 2.5 miles ahead, and once it got dark, I was like, yeah, I don't feel like hiking another 2 miles or 2+ miles, and I'm ready to just find a campsite. And I was able to fill up with a couple liters of water. There's plenty of water sources on the trail. And then I just found we're kind of in this forest area where the trees there's not too much vegetation on the ground, and the trees are kind of widely dispersed, and I was able to kind of just find a nice flat spot, and there were lots of sticks and branches on the ground, but I was able to kind of clear it out to make a nice spot for our tent. And so that's where we are. So we're 1.6 miles after North Mount Wilcox Shelter, and at mile 1543.1 currently. So we hiked a total of 15.1 miles today. And it's good to be back on trail after spending a lot of money in Great Barrington. Too much money. Everything feels like too much money when you can just camp for free in the woods. And I like camping for free in the woods. I enjoy staying in our tent. So that makes spending money in town feel unnecessary and excessive. But again, it's just a one-time, it's just an infrequent thing. So I'm telling myself that so I don't feel too bad about it. And as time goes on, I will forget about it. And I'll just keep this in mind the next opportunity there is to spend a lot of money in town, and hopefully I can avoid that. But at the same time, it was nice to get a shower. It was nice to sleep in a bed. It was nice for Riley to get the rest that he got. I thought it was cool going to the Japanese place. Even though it wasn't like super, it was a decent amount of food, but it wasn't like super, and it was also healthy food. It was nutritious food, so it was a good experience. But it wasn't the type of food that I would normally pick to eat to satisfy my hiker hunger. I wasn't actually super hungry last night either, so it worked out fine. Yeah, so Riley's curled up between my legs right now. I still have his warm jacket on. I think I'll just keep it on for the rest of the night. And yeah, Riley and I are doing fine tonight. Another night on the Appalachian Trail. This is what we want to be doing. This is what I want to be doing. And I think Riley is enjoying it for the most part as well. So even though I sound frustrated a lot, I still recognize that this is, you know, I'm lucky to be doing this, and I'm motivated to do this, and it's good to be out here. And it's coming to an end as well. We're getting closer every day to Katahdin, and it's going to come to an end at some point. So it's good to continue to appreciate it while it lasts. So we are going to try to get a good night's sleep tonight. I will close out the day now. Like I said, you know, as always, I hope everyone is doing well that's watching this. And that's all. That's all for the day. Good night, and we will check in tomorrow. Okay, bye for now.